project was about exploring the digital skills needed in graduate employment. So next slide. In particular, we aim to understand what digital skills and competencies were highly valued by employers and how they're applied in the workforce. And another thing we wanted to understand was where LSE graduates learned these digital skills in the first place and what LSE's role was in the acquisition of these skills. Our primary motivation of this project was to help current students enhance their employability by outlining skills and competencies that are deemed to be important by employers, and also investigate variations in digital skills across sectors that students should be cognizant of as they prepare for their career paths. And essentially, through a more detailed understanding of how these digital skills are deployed, we aim to demystify the ambiguity surrounding digital skills, as there's often in the job descriptions, and this will help students stand out more during the application process. With regards to the methodology, we aim to answer the question by constructing a graduate digital skills survey, which was targeted at recent alumni, which are essentially students who had graduated within the last 5 years across all degree levels at the LSE, which gave us an approximate sample size of about 20,000 graduates. Our sample inquired about what graduates their first role was after leaving LSE, and what the general skill clusters they deployed at their jobs. So these were things like data visualization, general programming. There were 6 more and 8 in total such skill clusters. Based on these skill clusters, we asked some questions about specific skills that they use in these jobs, and there were over 120 skills that they could select from, and also option to specify non-listed skills. And finally, there was this gave us a chance to ask them questions about how these students acquired these digital skills and the role that LSE played in this. Finally, in terms of operationalizing the survey, we worked in collaboration with the alumni engagement team, who gave us access to the email list and also to the LinkedIn group, and we were able to post the survey there, and it was active for 2 weeks. I'll pass over to Dominic, who will walk you through a couple of illustrative examples from our data findings.
Thank you. So this is just a quick breakdown of our sample. So out of our sample of 20,000 people, we got 178 good quality responses. And for our analysis, we broke that into 6 groups, graduate career groups. There's kind of 2 types of data based on our methodology. We have data about specific skills which people have used in their graduate roles. And then we have data about their reflections on LSE's provision and how it prepared them with digital skills for their graduate roles. So I'm going to show you a couple of case studies based on the first set of data. So that's skills data based on this kind of 6 groups of career data. But this is only going to be a taste, and I'm going to try and contrast it just to give you an idea of what kind of analysis we're doing. Zane will cover some of the reflection data in the recommendation section. So the first kind of case study I want to show you is the NGOs and Public Affairs group. I think a really interesting thing about this group is the diversity of tasks which they do. They're doing budgeting, they're doing grant writing, they're doing some research, and that's reflected in some of the skills they used. And the tools they use is kind of more general software. And so Excel was the main tool for this, and that was consistent across all our groups, to be honest. It's interesting how it varies, though, how Excel is used differently, depending on the career group. So in this case, they're using it more for project management work, but also this was their primary tool for data analysis and visualization. A different skill for NGOs and public affairs from some of the other groups was their use of CRMs, and that's for managing clients. But in their case, it's more about donor management. And so being familiar with things like Salesforce and understanding how a database like that works was identified as a really important skill for for some of these roles in that sector. And let's contrast this with another popular group in LSE, which is a finance group. Excel was, again, most popular, but in this case, for a much narrower range of tasks. So about financial analysis and modeling, and that was reflected in some of the functions they used. It was about goal setting and using some of the VLOOKUP tools and index match to find data. A unique skill for this set was SQL, And this seemed to be a big differentiator with other groups, is that, compared to the NGO group, they're accessing some more sophisticated data analysis tools. And so these are some of the insights we're able to do by looking at the skills data, seeing how it varies by each career group. Now, Zane's going to provide some information on our recommendations from this project.
Thank you, Dominic. So we've actually tried to synthesize the recommendations according to this framework we henceforth refer to as ILA. So it kind of covers the various challenges that individuals face throughout the learning process of the digital skills. So at the first stage, when we've found out that like respondents generally reflected informational frictions in identifying the valuable skill sets they have to obtain in the first place. And then thereafter, even after identifying what they have to seek out adequate resources to actually acquire these identified skills. And thereafter, we look at the last stage where LSE as a provider of digital skills courses and workshops can kind of help to optimize the students' learning. So we frame the 7 recommendations that we have according to this framework, which we refer to. So the first recommendation under identify is actually to help raise awareness on the importance of digital skills. In particular, students from qualitative backgrounds actually shared that they didn't realize the importance of the digital skills in enhancing employability. So it's about making more like information on the importance of digital skills as well as what digital skills are important at the earlier stage for them to make use of it. Second, and perhaps a more drastic solution, which has been floated by quite a few respondents, is actually to make a digital skills course mandatory, much in the image of the LSE 100 course, where it's compulsory for everyone to participate in, but not part of the eventual degree program. So the third recommendation we have under the locate tier was actually to improve the visibility and accessibility of pre-existing skills and workshops. The thing is that a lot of the respondents shared with us that they would like for Excel workshops or Python workshops, but these are readily accessible through the Digital Skills Lab. It's really about making these resources more accessible and more visible to students. So under the acquire stage, we kind of focus on how we can improve the provision of digital skills through LSE providers. So first, focus on the practical application of digital skills. A lot of the respondents shared that they very much prefer that statistical analysis can be conducted through Python and R instead of Stata, for example. And the other few, like the rest of the recommendations we have there, actually kind of just refine the way that things have been done to improve the way to cater to more varied needs across the board. So we can go into this in the Q&A session. I know we've overrun the time, and thank you so much for listening.